Hello and welcome to my Temple of Aminishi solo melee guide. The Temple of Aminishi is a very intense dungeon, so it may be very difficult to do when you're learning. The mobs can be very strong, and the bosses can be very difficult at first. You'll want to run through as quickly as possible and only kill the mobs that are necessary to progress. If you don't, often the mobs will catch up and you'll take a lot more damage. So any mobs I do not mention should generally be ignored. Here is a relatively basic setup that you can use at Elite Dungeon 1. So here we're just using Masterwork armor, except we're replacing the Masterwork boots with Laceration boots in order to allow us to use Bladed Dive without using a dual-wield weapon. We're using a Noxious Scythe to help clear the mobs as well as to actually primarily attack the bosses. And then we're just using the best cape, the best amulet, and the best ring we have. I highly recommend using the Ring of Death though, because it will make it substantially cheaper to get killed in the event you die. In the inventory, all you really need to bring is an overload, some prayer restoring potions, some food, and some brews. Also, you should generally bring a familiar which can hold extra food because you're likely going to take a lot of damage first. So for the more advanced setup, we've upgraded the normal Masterwork armor to custom fit trim Masterwork armor. We're also using a Vampirism Scrimshaw. Vampirism Scrimshaw will heal us up over time, substantially reducing the amount of food we need. A Rune Pouch. Disruption Shield runes will allow us to cast Disruption Shield, which is going to be a defensive ability that does not lose any DPS. We're using Drygores. The Drygores will be primarily used for actually fighting the bosses, although the Scythe will be used for clearing most of the mobs. A melee Caitlyn Cape, in essence a Finality Amulet, although an Amulet of Souls will do just fine. A Ring of Vigor. The Ring of Vigor is going to give us the ability to save 10% Adrenaline every ultimate we use, and then Cinder Blade Gloves, and then finally a pair of Laceration Boots. For the advanced inventory, there's actually quite a lot more in it. There's a Zaros God Sword. The Zaros God Sword is to use a special attack to help increase general damage. There's a different kind of prayer potions, this time spiritual prayer renewals, which will be used to help the DPS familiar attack your targets more often. Dominion Mines. The Dominion Mines are actually only used on Siryu, on the crystals on the back. The vulnerability bombs are just to help in general do more DPS. The Kite Shield is so I can use Stability Resonant, vulnerability bombs, a Noxious Scythe. The Adrenaline Potion is also to help increase general damage. The Vitality Power Burst is used to double the HP for a bit to defend against certain mechanics. And the Luck of the Doors is just there to hopefully increase my drop chance of any rare drops. And then the Adrenaline Urn is just to hold on to Adrenaline so I don't have to worry about stalling Adrenaline. At the start, take the left path. You need to go and kill the 4 guards around that barrier. You can ignore basically anything else that shows up, including any of those healing mobs. Use AoE abilities like Hurricane and Quake, but save your Meteor Strike. You're going to use that later. Next, you surge as many times as you can and Bladed Dive all the way down until you meet a large group of melee mobs in a rectangular formation. You can actually pray Soul Split here. You need to use your Meteor Strike and Hurricane or Quake if needed to make sure you clear all the melee mobs. As soon as that barrier drops nearby, you need to go right through it. You next need to kill the 3 mage guards nearby. Make sure you go through the door as soon as you can, and you will not have to worry about any of those mobs behind you because they won't be able to go through the door themselves. As you approach the next group of mobs, you want to mutated barge towards the middle of the 5. The middle mob actually can heal any mobs including itself. You want to kill this one first so it doesn't have a chance to heal if you can. After that, you can berserk. Once you've killed the mobs, you then need to choose one side and hug that wall until you get across and aggro one side of the mobs. If you don't hug the wall, you're going to aggro both sides of the mobs and you're going to fight both of them. Once the barrier drops, continue on with the dungeon and keep running all the way to the next set of magic mobs. Teleport out once you kill these 3 magic mobs on the right side. Do not take the left side, because when you teleport back in and go on the left side, there's going to be a lot of Arhats ready to attack you immediately on the left side. It is important that when you enter the dungeon, you get to the first boss quickly, because if you don't, the Arhats will start drifting around and potentially aggro on you when you enter that part of the dungeon. There are 2 methods of fighting the Sanctum Guardian. In the first method, you pre-range as you start to fight. You're going to run in front of the Guardian and move to your left side of the field. You want to do your best Berserk rotation and attack the boss. From this side, however, you will not be able to Von Bomb or Mutated Flurry or Hurricane this boss. When the rotating water spout happens, on this method you move to the right side just past the center line, and you continue attacking the boss. While the water spout is actually happening, you can soul split to gain some health back. Stay on the right side until you get a blue adrenaline bar above your head. When the blue adrenaline bar gets to its last quarter, blade a dive to the back and to the left so that you can barge back, ending up on the left side of the fight again. If you get a weak melee attack or see a water spout shooting directly at you, quickly switch to melee prey so that you don't get hit for a 4K-ish. Repeat the previously mentioned steps until you finish the boss fight. In the second method, we're going to run to the back of the boss and pray ranged. With this method, you can actually Von Bomb anywhere behind the Sanctum Guardian, as well as use the abilities Mutative Flurry and Hurricane if you need. In this method, you're not going to actually avoid any of the rotating water spells. Just do your best Berserk rotation, and every time a water spout happens, use a Disruption Shield, a Resonance, a Power Burst of Vitality, or a Debilitate to reduce the damage you take from the water spout. Otherwise, try to avoid moving. You'll still deal with the smoke attack, the attack with the adrenaline bar above your head, in the same way you did in the previous method. Though it may be possible to not move at all for the smoke attack and only move a little bit out of the smoke once the smoke has been placed. If the fight takes long enough, you will start getting Crassian Ritual Keepers. If Sanctum Guardian has high health when these appear, you probably want to use the first method and not this method. Once you finish the fight, go through the door to the back. Take the left path here, but keep going straight and kill the 2 cloaked zealots on the bridge. When you meet the Death Lotus rogues, run up to them and then surge and blade a dive away from them to the right and get to the cloaked zealots as soon as you can. You want to kill these off quickly so that you can leave the Death Lotus rogues behind before they start destroying you with ranged attacks. Keep running down the left side of now the large circle and kill the next cloaked zealot you see. When the barrier drops, go all the way down the end and then make a left and kill the next 3 cloaked zealots across the bridge that are guarding a barrier on the staircase. I like to use Berserk here so that I can also use it to help clear the large amount of cloaked zealots that are guarding the door next. I then bladed dive into the middle of that group of 6 cloaked zealots in front of the door and use Hurricane and Quake since I have a Berserk up, and then use Meteor Strike if I need to help finish them all off. Once we get through the door, we kill the 2 magic mobs protecting the barrier, but we ignore the 2 healer mobs on the left. We then Surge and Blade Dive all the way in to aggro all the melee mobs, hopefully except for the Hanto Cell Swords. We're going to use Meteor Strike and our other area of effect abilities like Quake and Hurricane to clear these mobs. You can pray Soul Split here, but if a Hanto Cell Sword says die by the blade, you may need to either stun it or pray melee and devotion. Continue on through the barrier, but take the right side and get as quickly as you can to the cloaked zealots that are guarding the right barrier by using Surge and Bladed Dive. You need to kill these as quickly as you can because there's going to be a lot of mobs piling up getting ready to attack you. Pray range if a Death Lotus rogue starts attacking you with ranged attacks, and teleport out as soon as the barrier drops. When you return to the dungeon, all of the mobs that had aggroed you in your previous trip will have been replaced back to where they started, and they will not aggro you because you will not be in a position for them to aggro you in. Use your best Berserk rotation, but watch out if he starts spinning around. If he starts spinning around, you want to wait 3 seconds and then use Devotion for the first spin around. Use channeled abilities like Assault, Destroy, and Mutative Flurry or Flurry so that Masuda does not move you around and prevent you from attacking him. When you see a lot of purple things start appearing around you, you want to either pray Mage and Devotion, or you can pray Mage and Debilitate but move around so only a couple of them hit you at most, or you can escape the area completely and wait for all the purple things to subside and then attack the boss again. When he starts spinning around again, you probably will have Devotion on cooldown, so you will need to just run away from the spin and stay away so that he doesn't wipe you out with those later melee hits. When he says I'll pulverize you, you can actually resonance it to get an up to 6,000 heal. When Masuda jumps in the air, he'll stop being attackable. He's gonna spawn Thrashing Waters. You need to kill them as quickly as you can by getting melee distance so that you reduce the amount of damage his magic attack does the next phase. When he becomes attackable, you want to still kill all of the Thrashing Waters and then get back on Masuda. Kids screaming in their cradles, profanities. Some days I feel skinnier than all the other days. Once you have killed about 15 or all of the Thrashing Waters that have spawned, get back on Masuda and pray Mage until he hits you with a magic attack. Then you want to pray ranged and then switch to magic every 4 ranged auto attacks. Repeat until Masuda is dead. Go down the stairs that show up once you kill Masuda, and then kill the 3 pylons that are closest to the chest. After that, the barrier on the right will drop, and then get ready to fight Siryu. When you fight Siryu, pray Mage, and watch out for any hands that are coming from the shackle, or any hands that are coming from anywhere else on the field from a marked point, and watch out for any black circles that show up under you. When the black circles appear under you, there is also a large black circle that appears on the very left front side of the field. So if you see that showing up, chances are there is also a black circle under you as well. When the black circle appears under you, you want to run either 2 squares to the right or 2 squares forward, or run square back and one square left. When you see the hands appear from a certain marked point on the ground, you can either stand on the marked point on the ground or just simply move a little bit to avoid the hands hitting you. If you see hands coming from the shackle, you want to watch out to see if they're actually going to hit you. Chances are if they're not close to you, you're not going to get hit by them. If they are going to hit you, you generally don't have a lot of warning, and you may need to surge to the other side. So if you're on the right side of Siryu and you see the hand coming to you on the right, then you may need to surge to, say, the left side of the field. If you don't have any room to attack the boss because there's a lot of black circles on the ground, then you may need to step back and wait until you get some more room to attack the boss. At 7.2 million, Siryu will become unattackable. Jump up on either side of the shackle for the first cycle, and if you're trying to 2-cycle, you're going to want to just use your Dominion Mines and your Berserk, and then destroy the first crystal, but do not use your Adrenaline Potion because you're going to need that on the second crystal. You'll also need to Mutated Flurry at least once on the first crystal in order to get your Berserk up soon enough for the second crystal. You should not need to use your Vulnerability Bomb here. If you're doing a normal kill and not trying to go for a 2-cycle, then use all your DPS you can to kill the first crystal and then relax on the second crystal. You will want to throw your Vulnerability Bomb on the second crystal before you start seriously trying to damage it, and you can do this before the Uber Heals happen. If you want to 2-cycle, you need to wait until the 4th Uber Heal, and then Berserk, Mutated Barge, use your Dominion Mines, drink your Adrenaline Potion, and then use Assault as soon as you can, and then Destroy with Limitless, and then after the Destroy ends, use Flurry, and try to get that second crystal down as far as you can. If you're doing a normal kill though, you can just Onslaught on the 5th Uber Heal, and that will be plenty good enough. You will need to catch the slimes once you get kicked off of the platform. Free them immediately and then switch to your scythe and then try to catch the front slimes. Once you've caught the front slimes, you can position yourself in the middle of the rest of the slimes and use Quake or Hurricane to catch the rest of the slimes. Then you use the Quake or Hurricane, whichever one's off of cooldown, to remove all the slimes so you can continue focusing on the boss fight. DPS Siryu to 7.2 million again, but watch out because the hands will move a little bit faster since you have killed one of the black crystals. When you go up again at 7.2 million, you want to go up on the side that you have not damaged if you're trying to 2-cycle. If you're trying to 2-cycle, you jump up with 100% Adrenaline, and then immediately Berserk, throw the Vuln Bomb at the crystal, Barge, use your Adrenaline Potion, Assault, Destroy with the Limitless, Flurry, and then hopefully that crystal will die very soon after that. And then after that you should be able to destroy the last crystal with just a little bit of time remaining. If you're trying to 3-cycle though, you can just go up the side you already damaged and take it a lot more easy by just killing the crystal that you already damaged in the previous cycle, and then waiting until the Uber Heals happen, onslaughting again on the 5th Uber Heal, and then you're gonna go up one more time and kill the last remaining low health crystal without any trouble. Well, thank you for watching the video on how to do Siryu, but you may be wondering, why do you do Siryu? What's the point? Well, Siryu averages roughly 15 scales per kill, and the scales as of today are worth around 750,000 gold pieces. If you can get roughly 2 kills per hour, you get around 22.5 million an hour from just the ancient scales, never mind the small profit you make over your supplies with the normal drops. If you can get 3 kills per hour, you can make like more than 33.75 million gold per hour on just the ancient scales. You can also get other lucky drops such as fishy treats or Masuda's war spear. You can actually also get lucky and get all the way up to 220 ancient scales, although the most I have ever gotten myself is 94. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and learned something about ED1 here. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to leave a like, comment what you enjoyed about the video or what you learned about the video, and subscribe to the channel. I mainly stream on Twitch. You can find me there at twitch.tv/weeklykiwi. Thank you.